In this video you will be learning some of the likely questions you will be asked in your project or research defense or thesis defense. Study these questions and how you should answer the questions. Here are the questions that you have to be ready to answer. 1. Why did you choose this topic? This question also may sound like, what is your motivation for this study? This might be the first question addressed to you, and you need to have a good response. You should talk about the motivations for the study. Talk about the research problem you wanted to address which made you embark on the study. In addition, in answering this question, you also need to mention your interest. Your interest is based on your experience and reading of books, journals, articles, etc. Then continue to the research's gap which leads to the research's question, in which, by stating the research's problem, it informs the audience the importance of conducting your research. Question 2. Briefly, explain what your research project is all about. This question also may sound like, are you able to tell us in a few sentences what your study is all about? To respond to this question, you need to fully understand your research project. You have to understand every detail of your scientific research from chapter 1 to the top. Therefore, basically, the key answer to this question is by being able to understand and memorize your research's abstract. Question number 3. What is the scope of your study? The scope of a study explains the extent to which the research area will be explored in the work and specifies the parameters within the study will be operating. Basically, this means that you will have to define what the study is going to cover and what it is focusing on. Hence, you also have to define what the study is not going to cover. This will come under the delimitations and limitations. Generally, the scope of a research paper is followed by its delimitations and limitations. Question number 4. What is the significance of your study? To answer this question, you will need to state how your research work will help other researchers, educators, organizations, practitioners, etc. The significance of the study is a written statement that explains why your research was needed. It's a justification of the importance of your work and impact it has on your research field, its contribution to new knowledge, and how others will benefit from it. Question number 5. What are your research variables? Occasionally, this question is asked if your research is in terms of quantitative research. This question is asked in order to find out if you really know what your research project is all about. Explain your independent and dependent variable to show them you really grasp the concept of your research topic. Just to remind you, the independent variable is the cause. Its value is independent of other variables in your study, while the dependent variable is the effect. Its value depends on changes in the independent variable. So, the answer to this question is by identifying the variables in your research's topic, by defining and explaining them. Question number 6. What research methodology did you use? This is usually the chapter 3 of your project report. To respond to this question, you should briefly state the research design procedure you adopted for the research. Talk about the data collection methods and sampling techniques employed in the research. This question may be furthered with the question below. Question number 7. Why did you use that research methodology? This is where you state the reasons for the choice of research methodology used. Research methodology is the specific procedures or techniques used to identify, select, process, and analyze information about a topic. In a research paper, the methodology section allows the reader to critically evaluate a study's overall validity and reliability. Therefore, to answer this question, you should state the way the sample or participants are selected, the instrument of data collection of your research, how the independent variable was applied, data analysis technique, so that your research problem or question is answered. Question number 8. Why do you think your research is reliable? Reliability refers to whether or not you get the same answer by using an instrument to measure something more than once. In simple terms, research reliability is the degree to which research method produces stable and consistent results. A specific measure is considered to be reliable if its application on the same object of measurement number of times produces the same results. Research reliability can be divided into 3 categories. 1. Test-retest reliability. It relates to the measure of reliability that has been obtained by conducting the same test more than one time over a period of time with the participation of the same sample group. 2. Parallel forms reliability. It relates to a measure that is obtained by conducting assessment of the same phenomena with the participation of the same sample group via more than one assessment method. 3. Inter-rater reliability, as the name indicates, relates to the measure of sets of results obtained by different assessors using same methods. Benefits and importance of assessing inter-rater reliability can be explained by referring to subjectivity of assessments. So answer the question, why do you think your research is reliable? By simply telling your audience panel of assessors that the threats to research reliability with which are participants' error, participant bias, research error, and researcher bias did not occur during the research. Or you can simply say that you made sure the threats were reduced to the barest minimum. Well, let's continue to the next possible question, that is, question number 9. Why do you think your research is valid? The validity of a research study refers to how well the results among the study participants represent true findings among similar individuals outside the study. In addition, the conclusions you draw from your research, whether from analyzing survey, focus groups, experimental design, or other research methods, are only useful if they're valid. Validity is used to determine whether research measures what it intended to measure and to approximate the truthfulness of the results. Therefore, in being able to answer, why do you think your research is valid? You have to be clear first with these 7 key types of validity in research. 1. Face validity. It is concerned with whether it seems like we measure what we claim. 2. Content validity. Content validity is whether or not the measure used in the research covers all of the content in the underlying construct. 3. Construct validity. Construct validity is used to determine how well a test measures what it is supposed to measure. In other words, is the test constructed in a way that it successfully tests what it claims to test? Construct validity is usually verified by comparing the test to other tests that measure similar qualities to see how highly correlated the two measures are. 4. Internal validity. Internal validity relates to how well a study is conducted. 5. External validity. External validity relates to how applicable the findings are to the real world. 6. Statistical conclusion validity. Statistical conclusion validity is a determination of whether a relationship or covariation exists between cause and effect variables. 7. Criterion-related validity. Criterion-related validity, also called instrumental validity, is a measure of the quality of your measurement methods. The accuracy of a measure is demonstrated by comparing it with a measure that is already known to be valid. Alright, now let's move to question number 10. Based on your findings, what are your recommendations, suggestions? This is where you talk about the importance and implications of your findings from 3 levels, namely 1. Further research, that is, various ways other researchers can improve or refine the study. 2. Theory, that is, the new contributions that you are adding to the body of knowledge. And 3. Practice, that is how the information gotten from your study can make practice better, improve the operational procedures, solve problems, improve policy making, etc. Note: avoid the temptation to make recommendations that are not supported by your findings. Do not recommend based on your beliefs. Understanding and being able to answer these 10 questions proves that you truly understand what you did and your research is worthy. Thank you for watching and wish all the best at your research defense.